Hello vinyl community, Bradley here. This video is a response to Bill at the Vinylverse for his contest concerning live concerts. He has 3 questions. The first one, I believe, is show us some live albums. Second question is relate a concert experience, good or bad. And the third question is, what band did you miss in concert? So, I decided to film outside today. It's starting, I think we're going to get some rain. Just to start out, my brother from California stopped in a couple weeks ago, and he brought a friend who is married to a French woman. So they brought me some wine. It says it is from France, which I believe. It is called Old Fart wine. White. Old Fart white. That doesn't sound too French to me, but it says product of France. And I did pour a little glass. I'll tell you what it tastes like. To be honest, it tastes like an old fart. Oh boy, I don't know. Look at that color. Not too great. So let's get on with the video. I have probably 8 or 9 live albums. I will go fairly quickly through them. I don't want to bore anybody. The first album is a live jazz album. It is a 10-inch EP. Art Blakey, A Night at Birdland. Originally released on 3 EPs, 10-inch EPs in probably 55 or 56. This is a repress of the first one. Excellent live jazz from the middle 50s. Okay, second album. This was recorded at the Fillmore East, of course. The Allman Brothers, live at the Fillmore East. Excellent album. I bought this used a few months ago. It's in really great shape, so you got to have Allman Brothers. Here is another Fillmore album. This was also recorded at the Fillmore East. My brother had this album way back in the early 70s. It's a classical. It's called Bach Live at Fillmore East with Virgil Fox on the heavy organ. Now this is really good because back in the day at the Fillmore, they would have really good pairings of groups. Like they might have this guy playing the organ at first, and then maybe Grateful Dead would come out, or some really bizarre combination. It was just more of a entertainment, unique entertainment. And I always thought it would be cool to collect all the albums filmed or recorded at the Fillmore East and West. There's probably, I don't know, 80 or 90 albums, I would suppose. That would be really interesting because it would be in all genres. Okay, next album. Middle 70s, you had to have this album in your collection. I saw him and the band as they were doing this tour. It's called Bob Seger, Silver Bullet Band, live. You can't get much better than a live rock and roll album than this one. Next album. I think this band was the greatest live rock and roll band ever. I saw them, I don't know, at least 3 times. A bar band I consider them a bar band. J. Geils Band. Blow your face out, as Peter Wolf would say. This album, just fantastic. 2-album set. You couldn't get any better than seeing J. Geils live. Next album is a jazz. If you've seen any of my other videos, I was harping on these albums. There were a set of 4 of these albums recorded from a 1967 gig in Copenhagen, Denmark, with Dexter Gordon. And these were re-released on the ORG by ORG and pressed at Palace in Germany. Fantastic sounding albums. If you're into Dexter Gordon or jazz, pick one of them up. That was called Both Sides of Midnight. Next album, which I will relate a concert story to this later. Middle 70s, 76 or so, Frampton Comes Alive. And I did see him on this tour here. Got the double album and had to go to a show. One of the best shows in my life. Last album is a jazz album. Picked this up probably a year ago and I had never heard it. It was recorded in the mid-70s, I believe. Keith Jarrett, the Cologne concert. Solo improvisation on a crappy piano. I told you the history of this in one of my earlier videos. The piano that was provided was horrible. It was recorded at midnight on a Saturday night late concert. Fantastic album. I highly recommend it. Next question is relate a concert experience, good or bad. I have a couple briefly. Like I said, I saw Frampton when this live album came out in probably 76. It was Halloween of 1976. Fantastic show. It was in Bowling Green, Ohio. Okay, fast forward 40 years into the future. It would be 2016, 2 years ago. Also on Halloween, 40 years to the day, I saw Peter Frampton again. He performed at the Niswonger Center in Van Wert, Ohio. A very nice theater venue. He did, it was more or less an acoustic show. Him and his songwriting partner. It was really cool. 40 years to the day. Saw Frampton. Great. Okay, one more concert experience. Probably one of my best. I've had some bad ones. I don't want to go into those. Back in the early 90s, I am not sure what year. Oh boy, it was the early 90s. A friend of mine, he was the drummer in the band that I was in. Him and his wife were John Mellencamp fanatics. So anyhow, it was around, there was a concert on, I think around July 3rd of this year. I would say, I don't know, 93, I don't know, early 90s. And they saw him down at the outdoor theater around Indianapolis. At the time, I think it was Deer Creek or Deer Run. I'm not sure what it was. I think now it's the Klipsch Music Center or whatever. It's the outdoor theater that a lot of cities have. So anyhow, they went down to the Friday night show, July 3rd, and I guess, unbeknownst to them, Mellencamp decided to have a free concert the next night on July 4th. He gave everybody that attended the July 3rd concert got free tickets to come back the next night. So anyhow, my buddy and his wife came home and asked me if I wanted to go back down on Saturday night's concert. And of course I said, yeah. And a Mellencamp concert, it would be similar to maybe to a Petty concert. I'm just throwing that name out because every song that he played, anybody would know it, you know, like 35 top 10 hits or whatever. And another cool thing about this concert was it was telecast on a, I think an hour or an hour and a half delay on ABC TV that night. So we went to the concert and we went back to our hotel in Indy, and we actually watched at least the last half of the concert that we just returned from. It was super. It was a 4th of July telecast, and we also had somebody record this at home. So later on I converted it to a DVD, which I still have. So that was a really good time. The last question is, name a group or a band that you missed in concert. Back in probably 75 or so, I actually did have a concert or a ticket to Todd Rundgren and Utopia in Bowling Green, Ohio. And Todd was one of my favorite musicians. And it so happened that this concert was at the end of winter break at college. So anyhow, I got back to college and there was a huge snowstorm in Northwest Ohio. A lot of people didn't even make it back. So they canceled that concert. And I never saw Todd, never have. So that was the main one. And then also back in the 70s, I could have probably went to like a Led Zeppelin and The Who when they performed up in Cleveland at the World Series of Rock, but I missed that. So I really enjoy watching Bill's videos on the Vinylverse, and I always look forward to the next. So I guess that's my video response to his contest. So I'll see you guys later. Have a good day.